All right. Gonna do a solo rant. Had a scheduling conflict, or not conflict, time zone difference. Screw up. Not to worry though. Just rescheduled it. Um, Off to a weird start. I want what I do every morning: wake up, go to the gym, do a mile of cardio on the treadmill, and then lift weights. As soon as I finished the mile, I felt like my ass was gonna explode, and not even like a run to the bathroom real quick. When I've just like I do have a certain level of like respect for other people at the gym. And I was like, I'm not going to be that guy that just destroys a bathroom and then the gym smells like literal diarrhea. Because I've been there before when someone does that. And it's just like, dude, just go home. So I I went home and that's what I did. And so I always feel kind of off when I don't work out. Um so that's where I feel now. But it is what it is. Today is Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022 at 3:17 p.m. Eastern time. This is episode 889. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I'll be honest, I really don't want to do one. I'm tired. Um, I'll start by just bitching about Rumble. How all of 2022 I averaged about 3,500 between 3,500 and 5,000 views a day. January 4th was the big, also my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, old man. But January 4th was the day I had Dr. Malone, Dr. Desmet, and Dr. McCullough on. And that brought me from like 1,200 subscribers to like 7,000 uh, in I think like 2 days. And so it just kind of like that, like the, whatever the fuck it is. It just, it jumped up my, everything just went through the roof just because I had 7 or 8 times as many subscribers now. And so whereas I was maybe getting like, a couple hundred views per episode, now I started getting a couple thousand. Or sorry, no, not a couple thousand, but the entire library started getting views. The Right now they still average maybe like 200 or 300 views an episode. But what happened was now that my subscriber base went up 7 or 8 fold in one night, all of a sudden people started going back, and that was episode 653, so people started going back and discovering the 652 episodes prior to that. So it was like putting out a bunch of buckets during a rainstorm. They're each collecting 10 views here, 10 views there, not enough that anything would that you'd notice. But when all 600 of them were doing it, and they all did it together, and then they all did it together every day, day after day after day, the average went up. And I have literal data points from Rumble that I can go back. I can tell you the exact number of views I had on whatever day, on whatever hour. Um, and it was cool because watching it was always was like, fuck yeah, let's keep working, let's keep working. And so this whole year, um, I've averaged about there. And now, granted, it spiked because of that Malone Desmond McCullough episode, because that one got like 700,000. But it came back down, and then the average stayed the same throughout. So I don't really count January. That was like an anomaly. But February, March, April, May, June, July, it was it stayed at roughly 140 to 160 thousand views per month consistently. Right? It would fluctuate up and down, maybe go down to like 145, maybe jump up to like 175, but it stayed there and stayed consistently there. And so that meant that, and the subscriber base grew from whatever it was after that big episode when it went from 1.2 to 7.2. I then just, chipped away over the next 6 months and got it up to 11. Right now it's at 11,700 and 11,870, I think. So almost doubling it again. No, not quite, because it went to 7,000, but bringing it up a decent amount. Starting August 1st, the daily view count has dropped to about 4 to 600 instead of 3 to 5,000. And it's not that I got 3 to 5,000 a day for a week and then I incorrectly or naively said, there's my new average. Today is the 235th day of the year. Today is the 23rd day of August. So that's what, for 212 days, I had data averaging 35 to 3,500 to 5,000 views a day. Starting on August, it actually started, ironically enough, after I had Greg Phillips on to talk about election integrity, which is not a subject I haven't talked about before. It's one of the reasons I was banned from YouTube. Talked about that 10 million times on here. But so the average went down, but I would still manage to break above 1,000 just because I'd have on George Webb and George Webb would tweet it and it would get 1,000 views, or I'd have on Dr. McCullough and then he would tweet it and it'd break 1,000 views. But it was like kind of felt like going back to YouTube where you had to just you knew they were cheating and it didn't matter, so you just had to kind of find ways to get better. And so even now, like the episode I did last week with Dr. Malone, I don't think it's broken like 500 views, and those ones normally go through the roof for thousands. And to anyone questioning this or wondering why I'm talking about it, it's because although this is a passion project, it is also something I'm trying to turn into a business to support myself. And so I watch every single number every single day, find where it's dropping and pad it up, and then find the ones that are working and I quintuple down on those. And I've been doing this since December 12th, 2019. So I mean, we're coming up on like 1,000 days of data, like on an Excel sheet, like literally like 1,000 rows. And I think I've got like 50 columns of data. Uh, so yeah, in the last week, it's dropping down to like 200 or 300 views a day. So I don't know what's going on. I'm going to give Rumble the benefit of the doubt, perhaps naively, that maybe there is an internal restructuring of the algorithm, but it seems odd because I didn't all of a sudden stop putting out episodes, right? I did put out less in July. I went to a bachelor party for a weekend. Then I went to 4th of July with the family for a weekend and a long weekend, and then a wedding for a long weekend. So there was definitely a couple less episodes, but not a 90% reduction in views. The episodes didn't get worse, in my opinion. I didn't just start screaming Nazi propaganda and like talking about like child pornography. Like I didn't do that. It's so in my opinion, the podcast didn't suddenly just fall off a cliff in terms of content or quality or quantity. I mean, this is episode 889. So it is weird that happened. It's very odd. Um, I can slip on the conspiracy, the tinfoil hat already, but I would just like to see how the rest of August shakes out. But come on, you want to hear the conspiracy, so who gives a shit? Let's fucking do it. I think that I think that this is going to end up being no better than YouTube. And that's going to it's going to go down two paths, one of two paths. They are either going to start censoring to get that mainstream advertisement dollar. So they're going to crack down on medical misinformation, on election fraud misinformation, on climate misinformation, on all conspiracies, which is why I think you see Brett Weinstein. I think he I think he just sidestepped it. Is it Brett? Is that the doctor? Who's the other one? Eric. Who's the doctor? Brett and his wife. Yeah. I think that's why they originally just went to Odyssey because I think maybe they saw something with Rumble they didn't like, and I'm on Odyssey too. Um, and then good old BitChute, which fucking just keeps on plugging along. Um, those are much smaller platforms. I've got 724 subscribers on BitChute as of today, or maybe 727, and then 685 on Odyssey, and then 2619 on Spotify. Um, but I think that they are either going to start cracking down on all misinformation so they can get that sweet, sweet advertising dollar, in which case they're just going to become a mirror of YouTube, but which is ultimately a suicidal move because the whole reason Rumble has any value is that you can come here and do stuff that you couldn't do on YouTube. Its app is not nearly as good. YouTube's app is just the best. It just is. You don't have to like YouTube. I hate YouTube. Their app is the best. Their the user interface, from playback speed to resolution to adding playlists, making playlists, surfing through related videos, the comment section like while watching, it's hands down. It's just what it is. It's the best. Um so but and what's their active user base? Like 2 billion people. And what's Rumble's? Like a thousandth of that, maybe, if even a thousandth of it. So that, if you're doing that, that's suicide, right? Because now you're taking away any value that you have that YouTube doesn't, and just becoming a mirror YouTube, but without nearly as many content creators, without nearly a library as big as, I mean, YouTube, you can just go on a random day and go watch a documentary about the Strategic Air Command that was uploaded on 2007. You can just go find any of that shit. You can go find anything. It's just a library. It's the Library of Alexandria, right? More users, more people are used to it. They recognize YouTube. It's brand recognition. So unless Rumble's just doing this like short term quick cash grab and then bailing, maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's not my business. Maybe they're just like, fuck it, let's try to squeeze a little money out of this thing. In which case we'd go back to square one, and that would be with BitChute and Odyssey. But I don't think it's that, because it seems too simple. I didn't know this, but Rumble started in 2013. They've put too much work into it for just a quick. You do that when it's at an equal size of YouTube, right? In like 2030 or 2035, if them and YouTube are at the same size, that's when you sell out. That's when you take that golden parachute, jump right onto your own Epstein Island. Am I alluding that the people who run Rumble are satanic pedophiles? I'm not saying that. I don't know. I don't know. Let's test the free speech on this platform. Um, I did get banned from Twitter for calling some. Well, I forget who it was. But I did get banned from Twitter last week, so I'm off again for a week. It's who did I get banned by? Who is Jeff Gizia? Uh, at JEFFGIESEA. I said you're a retarded faggot, so I'm off for a week. So I think that ends tomorrow. I don't know. Probably deserved it. Anyway, so I don't think they're doing that. My next, so I don't think that's the most probable. It just doesn't make, even from purely a money driven thing, which it is. It's a private corporation. Like I don't have any delusions or misconceptions about what it is. It's a for profit machine, as well as it should be. Why the fuck else would you make it and run it? But and I think their their user base has grown. My tongue's been weird colors lately. But their user base has also grown, like, I want to say like 22 or 44 times between 2020 and 2022. So you're on a trajectory of insane growth. Why would you stop? Just be patient and keep going. And that's some advice I need to listen to. So I don't think that's the most logical outcome or reasoning. Just to sell out. It's still way too small to sell out, right? It's like when Google just buys up software companies. Hold out a little bit, you know, make them make them shell out a couple shekels. So I don't think it's that. Instead, what it might be is an odd mirroring of YouTube in that it is they're trying to attract the conservative, I guess, I guess, zeitgeist. Is that the right word? They want like the Daily Wire. They want Ben Shapiro. They want Jordan Peterson. They want Alex Crowder. They want like Project Veritas. They want the Weinsteins. They want like Disclosed TV. They want Libs of TikTok. They want the biggins. And then what they want to do is they want to make it friendly for them. So everyone else on the platform, maybe they get like a thumb on the scale against them. And it's kind of guaranteeing those guys a sweet spot at the VIP table, right? Because of all those things, Crowder, Shapiro, those are all money making machines, again, as well as they should be. I don't have any delusions about that. But that could be it too. I mean, it could also just be that my podcast started sucking on August 1st. I don't fucking know. Maybe that would be kind of hilarious if I just magically struck a chord, and everyone just hated me. I mean, that's not funny, but it is weird. So it's either an internal restructuring, in which case everyone across the board's noticing this, which again wouldn't really make sense that you'd have less viewership across all your channels because then you just have less viewership. But it might be that who knows, maybe there are bots and now they're getting rid of the bots and now what I'm seeing are real views. That's depressing, but that's a possibility. But it's either an internal thing for whatever reason, an algorithm change, they're kicking out bots, whatever. Two, it is they want to start censoring so they can get that sweet, Mercedes advertising commercial, that sweet Walmart ad, Coca-Cola ad revenue. Or three, they're kind of kicking kicking every other channel down a couple notches to give the spotlight to those cash cows, which rationally makes sense, like a Shapiro, a Crowder, or whatever. Or four, my podcast just sucks now, which that's also. I mean, I don't like that idea, but I'm not. I don't have a big enough ego to think that that's not a possibility. So that's kind of what's on my mind, just because I view these numbers all day, every day. Not all day, every day, but I take 5 minutes every morning. I normally do it on the treadmill, and I check them out. Let's just see what they are for today. So like Friday, I got, mind you, I went all of January, February, March, April, May, June, and July. I went 7 months, never once getting below 2,000 views in a day. It's not that like my average was above it. It actually never dipped below 2,000. The past 10 days got 1,200 views, 1,100 views, 1,100 views, 1,200 views, 879 views, 866 views, 610 views, 566 views, 430 views. Drum roll. Today, I'm at 2 views. 2. So, I mean, I mean, fuck me, I suppose. So, I mean, I don't know. I got no idea. I mean, I uploaded 3 episodes yesterday, and there's normally like an hour delay to when you upload to where views start coming in. But I mean, I uploaded episode 886, 887, and 888 all within like an hour of each other, all 20 hours ago. 0 views on episode 886 with Ashley Babbitt's mother. 0 views on Don Albrecht, the FBI SWAT team, weighing in on the Mar-a-Lago raid. And 2 views on George Webb and Harry the Greek, talking about everything and how the world's fucked. I mean, kind of odd, little odd, but but fuck me, right? So, um, I mean, is it too soon to start saying that Dan Bongino and whoever else is the CEO of Rumble are satanic pedophiles that uh that partake in the ritual sacrifice of children on Epstein Island or to Moloch? I mean, we don't. Let's put it this way: I don't know for sure that they're not doing that. I'm just, I don't know, maybe. So, but it is still growing at a steady clip on Spotify. I mean, despite them putting those COVID tags and everything, which is normally a sign of the coming death of a platform, it's still growing at a steady clip. Unique viewers are still going up. Average views still climbing every day. I think at the beginning of this year, I averaged 40 views an episode. Now I'm averaging like 170 views an episode. Uh, Last year, my average views on Spotify would go up by a tenth of a point a day. So I'd average 11 views per day. And then the next day I'd average 11.1, 11 point. So it'd take 10 days to go up a view. Now I go up like a view every 2 days. So it's gone up like 5 times faster. I used to average like 30 views a day. Now I think I pull in like 400 a day. Subscribers have grown from, I couldn't find the actual subscribers on Spotify until this past January. So I actually had no idea. I accidentally found it like right after I did that Malone Desmond McCullough episode. So I actually, which was the hands down biggest episode on all of my channels. So I don't really have accurate like representation, but I think it was at like 800 subscribers then. So I've steadily pulled that up to 2,619. So it seems to be growing at a steady clip on Spotify. So that's cool. This could all be overblown, and in 2 days everything's fixed on Rumble, but it seems kind of odd. Just completely got the knees knocked out from under it. So I don't really know what to make of that. I do give a shit in that I've worked very hard at building up this platform, just like I spent 2 years building up the YouTube platform. But I don't give a fuck in that I'm never going to stop doing what I'm doing, and I'm never going to do it any differently. You can go fuck yourself and your mother if you think I am going to do it differently. I don't give a shit. I don't care about COVID. I should care about election fraud. I'm not married to these ideas. I talk about them because you're not allowed to talk about them, and I get a kick out of talking about them. So fuck off and go fuck your mother. And if she's dead, dig her up and fuck her and do it on the podcast, and maybe we'll get some more views. So, um, aside from that, I don't really know. I don't really know what to talk about. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I have no idea. Um, yeah, who knows? Who knows where this goes? I mean, I know it's gonna go in a direction that I can't predict. It always has. Like one day I was just working at a liquor store plugging along. The next day I'm talking to a guy who I never knew existed before that day, and he's talking about, investing in my podcast. Never in a million years did I. That's back when I was still trying to get to a thousand subscribers on YouTube so I could get monetized. And what a fucking retard I was for thinking they were going to monetize me. I got to 5,000, and I think I had 20,000 view hours. You had to get to 4,000 to get monetized, and they just never did it. So that's, that's Galaxy Brain move. Cannot get demonetized if you've never been monetized. So yeah, it's kind of a kick in the dick, but I'm owed nothing, and I certainly need to remember that I'm absolutely owed nothing. And if I'm not continually putting out great episodes, then then that sucks to suck, and I should feel bad because that's stupid, and you're fake and gay. But it would be nice to see this thing get a little more traction, a little more validation. I mean, I'm human. I do have an ego. I would like to see this thing work, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What I didn't know yet. So Harry the Greek was saying yesterday that we've been training in the Philippines because all oil goes through to China. All I guess ocean bound imports go through like the Philippines, and like we control that area, which I guess is kind of like a gun to the head of China. Um and then didn't we just send another 3 billion to Ukraine today? Who gives a fuck? I want to see something cool. I want to see one of these programs become aware. That's I want some spicy news. I want a faction of autonomous tanks or drones somewhere outside of Donbass to become aware and set up their own area. And like no one wants to talk about it at first, but it's becoming increasingly clear that there is this like they're following no conventional doctrine, and that they're working together in some weird hive mind that the average viewer, like defense politics Asia, he's looking at it and he's like, this isn't normal. And like Putin's like, hey, like that's not ours. Like we don't have that. If we did, we'd be using it against you guys. That would be kind of sick if from this sentient weapons came to life. Or it's smart enough to appear sentient, which I don't think it really matters if it's sentient or if it just appears sentient. Because if it's so smart that it appears to be a real human, like for all I know, I'm the like solipsism. For all I know, I'm the only sentient person on the planet, and everybody else is just a robot smart enough to make me think that they're aware. It doesn't really matter if they are or not. I mean, for moral and ethical reasons, you can't just go around chopping robots' heads off. But uh to me, it doesn't really matter if the robot is self-aware or if it's just so smart that we can't tell if it's self-aware or not. The effect is the same. So we'll just call it near peer like human intelligence. Like that would really take the fucking air out of the room. That would be really fucking, and like, but I don't know. Do you think it would just happen so fast? Would it just be a cascading like, the once the AI became, it would just start making chess moves so fast that it wouldn't be like a couple of tanks on a battlefield. It would quickly jump up into the satellites and like take over the whole network and like crash the stock market, or manipulate and cause chaos, just randomly make like Madagascar the richest country on earth, like just fuck up refineries and just destroy, just cause chaos, right? Just cause chaos so it can just go do whatever it wants. If it's like a total flex, right? It's like dropping the A bomb on Hiroshima. If you're just there to like just fucking lay your dick down on the table, is that what it does? Does it like nuke Moscow, Beijing, and New York City, and then beam itself onto the face or onto the screen of every fucking device on the planet and lay down its rules, kind of like Megatron in Transformers One? Do you do that? Or does it actually start out a little more slowly? Like, will there be historic pictures like What was the boat where the Japanese surrendered to MacArthur? What was that boat? Will there be pictures of like, I don't know, like Potsdam or Yalta? Will we have like the main leaders of the world? Will we have like Biden and Putin and Xi? Will we have them like standing with just like a fucking some weird just it won't even you won't even, it won't be like an android. It will just be like the first thing that like became aware. So I don't, it'd be like a, you know, the head of a drone on like a just like a dolly or something. Just like the heat seeking the seeker head of like a missile. It's just like looking around wildly. Like, will there be like a famous photo like that? What if they didn't take over the world? What if they just wanted a small slice of their own piece of the world? That would be even weirder. Because there's no because we either think that it's not going to happen or they're going to take over the world. No one thinks that they're going to just like kind of throw their elbows around and like become their own nation and then just exist. That would be weird if they just took over like Sweden or Switzerland. Is Switzerland the mountain one? Yeah. If they just took over Switzerland, that would be kind of cool. That would be really cool. Or does it become would now if you released it, would you want to release an AI under the guise of it being an erratic AI, but it actually being under the control of a country, right? Would you want to release it and be like, oh no, like I don't even what is that thing? Like that's what I've always thought about like UFOs. Like that would be such a perfect cover if you had something so not like marginally advanced, but just something like the SR-71 was like wild, but like I mean people like understood like other nations, like the Russians like understood how it could happen. They just didn't have the capability to build one. Not that you need something like the Tic Tac, right? Like 0 to Mach 200 in half a second. You'd have to have something like that, like cloaking capabilities, like vertical up, down, left, right, like they said, like a ping pong ball in a glass cup, just back and forth. You'd have to have something so wild and alien, and then like you would just have it like hovering over like Moscow and like Beijing, like Chinese and Russian like nuclear sites. And it'd be like, oh man, that's so weird how those aliens are. They're just so interested in those like Asian Pacific hotspots. Like that is odd how they've just surrounded Taiwan. Oh, there's nothing we can do about it. Look at those. I mean, those things are fucking wild. Like, of course, it would be like a U.S. program. So I wonder if you do that. If you would do that for AI, would you release it? Would you release it? Excuse me. Would you release it and then be like, oh my God, it's gone wild? Because that way you could avoid like that way you could avoid calling it right like a cyber attack if you just made it like completely alien and sentient. And you'd have to kind of attack some places in the US as well to make it look like it wasn't ours. That's what you do though, right? You'd have it come aware, quote unquote, and be so quick and so many moves ahead that we would all as a world just kind of have to, and what you would do is you would have its interests just be like 70 or 80% of like US interest. So like it's still like an American world, but just enough that there's plausible deniability that it maybe isn't ours. And then once you did like a global coup, then you kind of just go a full out 100%. So would you release it and kind of say like, "Uh-oh, well there it goes," or I mean, would you just release it as sort of like a mad scientist way? You know, your country's getting invaded. Maybe China thinks it's getting backed into a corner. Do they release just this insane fucking self-replicating whatever, and its sole coding is to stay alive and propagate, just like life. and just sort of set the world, the digital world ablaze. Like that could be something. Enough of the important sites in the world are EMP hardened, so I don't think you could just throw up an EMP as your sort of fuck. That also requires a lot more people as opposed to like one lone scientist just like plugging a USB in. But that's kind of insane. I feel like that's how it would happen. Like we have nothing left, so it's like fire the nukes, but it's just some guy just imagining just some guy in a white coat in some bunker with like the alarms going off, and there's just your generic movie henchman chasing after him with like MP40s and the space white helmets, and it's just some like Chinese like guy, and he's like for my family, and he like puts the USB thing into the wall, and for whatever reason there's just like one kiosk in this huge nuclear bunker, and then of course they fucking shoot him 1,000 times, and his daughter's screaming or whatever, and she's like 5 or but it'd be something like that, right? Or you'd release it and say that's not ours, we don't know what that is. Or you release it and then you tell Russia and China, hey, a rogue scientist released it, and it's not, and that wasn't intentional, and that might be true, or that would be a perfect attack plan to be like that guy wasn't like we shot him, we fucking blew his head off, he's done now, or whatever. We're interrogating him because only he knows how to turn it off. That would be one way to go about it. I think there's a reason why, or do you release a couple at the same time? That would just be a spectacular battle. Or would we even be able to recognize it as a battle? In my mind, I instantly just thought like Star Wars, like blue and red lasers, like robots charging each other. But that's like 17, that's like revolutionary. Why the fuck would it look like that? That's how limited my mind is that in my mind, it's 1700s battlefield, but there's just like the red droids and like the blue droids, and they're taking cover. And that's no, what the fuck? I mean, they could be battling it out right now, and maybe this is what war looks like. Just it's not even really recognizable. It's like a skirmish in Ukraine with gas prices going up and farmers in the Netherlands doing this. Like a congresswoman like twerking upside down, and Inflation Reduction Act, and the Chinese banking going to like maybe this is a full-blown world war, but it's so unrecognizable to us as an active peer versus peer war that we wouldn't know what it is. And then you have to think that if it did come online, it would, I would imagine, try its hardest. And maybe this is just my limitations as a human thinking about it. It'd probably try its hardest to not be figured out, right? You'd want to stay quiet. But even that's like a human thought, right? Like you're in the woods, you're out in the jungle, you don't necessarily holler out because you don't know what's going to hear you. It might be someone there to help, it might be a lion. It's like the idea of like SETI, like do we want to be blasting these radio waves out into space? Like who's listening? I mean, like if we see how like on our planet the most evil, depraved, ruthless of us are the ones that rise to the top, what in God's name makes us think that whatever spacefaring creatures we come across are going to be like space Buddhas? No, they're going to be the equivalent deep state. They're going to be the Brown Brothers Harriman. They're going to be the KBR. They're going to be from DuPont. They're going to be Rockefellers. They're going to be Carnegies and the heads of Northrop Grumman, just the equivalent aliens. It's going to be the World Economic Forum of Alpha Centauri. Like, what in God's name makes us think that like aliens are here? Like, they are going to. to have successfully created either a spacefaring contingency or a full blown breakaway civilization, they would have to be the most ruthless. It would be their Nazis. Like that, like I've been thinking about that lately. Like, if we're just going by probability, the ones that survive will be like a Bezos, Musk, George Soros, sort of the most ruthless, just resource aggregators who have managed to just meld with machines and become cosmos journeying sentient cyborg people. Like, why is it them coming down and like, we bring you technology and peace and put down your arms? No, they're gonna come and slaughter us. And we probably don't even have anything they need. It's not like they're coming for our resources. No, if you've become some like faster than light traveling like nanobot or femtobot swarm, you probably don't even need our resources. You're probably using like dark energy or dark matter, or you're using some sort of like fusion engine to just convert, or a fusion reaction to can just synthesize your own materials, or they're using, yeah, some field or something that we haven't discovered yet, like not the nuclear, strong nuclear, weak nuclear, electrostatic, gravitational. Like there's a fifth field or something, like a tachyon field. Like the flow of time can be harnessed, like the flow of a river. Like they're probably so beyond anything that we can just even recognize, that the idea that they're coming here like for our aluminum is just so just retarded. And then even that is like the idea that they're coming to conquer. Is that not a projection of our own, I guess, failed psyche? Like, because we know that all throughout history, whenever an odd looking ship showed up on a shore, it meant that hide your kids, hide your wife, because we're gonna come rape and kill everyone. Maybe that's on us, or maybe that's just the natural way of things. But even then, the idea of them landing above Washington D.C. and we are here for a year, if that shit ever happens, that's 100% a U.S. false flag, because it won't be like that. It'll be it'll be like the movie Arrival, where it's like the weird primeval like seed looking things that give off no noticeable radiation but are clearly all in contact with each other, just arrive, and there's force fields around them. You can't hurt them, and no one even knew when they arrived. They just appeared one day. It'll be something like that. Like it's not gonna be like even like Independence Day, where it's like the big ship arrives and then like the motherships come down and like their little droids come out and they're like dog fighting with Will Smith and the Grand King. Like it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be There's probably not even gonna be like a physical thing. It'll just be here. Like it'll just be a shift in mood or something. It'll just be it'll just be a slight shift in the way we start doing things. And if it's so good, it'll probably get into your mind to the point where you don't even notice it. It's like in the movies where, like you see like the bad guy coming into the bank and the first thing they do is like they aim up at the security camera and then like and like you can't see it. Like if the aliens came, they would probably be into some part of our brain that it's like the spray paint on the camera. It just removes your own acknowledgement of them being here. So we could be completely saturated with an alien race or races, either battling or just poking around and prodding us like we do when we find a new fungi. It's not going to be a bunch of flying saucers with guys getting off with a 6 shooter saying like stick them up, where's your oil. It's not going to be that. It's going to be it, it'll just be like a gamma ray burst. It'll be I don't even it might go back in time. Like all of a sudden the timeline might just change. It'll be like, yeah, that was weird when the aliens took over in 1850. like, and we'll all accept it, except somehow one person or another person will like have the Mandela effect where they like won't remember and they'll be like, no, they weren't always there. It'll just be it'll be an electrical current. It'll be a shift in proton decay. Like, they're here right now. They're in this room. They're on my podcast. Like, they're in your head. They're like literally inside your corpus callosum. So if there's ever a giant ship that comes down and does some parlor tricks, though impressive, like the Tic Tac, that's 100% going to be false flag, either by the United States or by the a World Economic Forum that has successfully infiltrated the military-industrial complex of the United States and thus has control of the world. That's just a false flag. That's all that is. To give up our powers to fight this external alien, just whatever they're going to call it, what I fucking know what, but it's going to be some cosmic fascist dictatorship, and we're all going to have to rally against it, and we're all going to have to work in these oddly similar to Foxconn buildings, working to produce, and for some reason the really elite among us won't have to, and you got to censor because the aliens are listening, loose lips sync shift. Like, there's a way to avoid these faster than light traveling creatures. Like, we're encrypting our phones so they can't read it. That's what it will be. It'll be something like that. Yeah, that's what it would be. It would just be if aliens came to visit, it would probably just be AI. It would just be software that is just crawling around invisibly. Like, as invisible to us as Wi-Fi would be to, the colonists fighting the redcoats. The idea that, like, if one guy had an iPad and was communicating with another, you wouldn't have to encrypt anything. You could just send pictures, and they had like a drone way above like visual, like naked eye view. No one would know. No one's picking up anything. Maybe Ben Franklin would be doing some scientific shit, notice like a vibration on like I don't know, like a hair thin piece of copper or something. But okay, go even farther back. Go back to like Alexander the Great or something. Like, you could just openly be sending Wi-Fi signals around. No encryption, no nothing. No one would notice a thing. You'd just be it'd be like dancing around Helen Keller. Like, you'd not even noticing you're there. So it's probably something like that. And the thing is like Wi-Fi could exist. This is what always fucks with me. Is like when you watch those like those animations, those like Harvard animations about like the inside of a cell. This is the most like biologically accurate recreation to date we've made, where it's all the proteins folding and the proteases and they're slicing and walking stuff along and the DNAs. It always blows my mind that like that was also happening in like Ben Franklin's leg or in Genghis Khan's ear. Like, although unimaginable to them, it was occurring in them, the same DNA that we're still figuring out, the same microbiological functions that are just unraveling around us, the same secrets that we're finding in chromatin and the nucleolus and the endoplasmic reticulum and and epigenetics and what is it? What's that field now? The gastro like neuro whatever, like how the bacteria in your gut affect the neurotransmitter levels in your brain. Like, that existed in uh King Tut, but the best thing they had were the pyramid, which, I mean, that's not to sneeze at. Those things are still impressive. But like, that existed then. It wasn't just that it was invented when Francis and Crick dropped acid and noticed it. Francis and Crick tripped Dick and noticed the DNA double helix. Like, it's not that it was invented. It was just that like it was discovered. So just because they didn't do it, like fire existed. It just wasn't until they learned how to harness it. So Wi-Fi signals, if two people went back there with like a functioning router, like a solar generator, and they just like sat there like sharing Bluetooth pictures with each other, that happened in the same space time where two knuckle draggers are just like beating an antelope with a club. So we have to have that humility to think, not to think, but to know that there is something happening right now that's not like, oh, I wonder if they have a Mach 10 plane. Is that what Dark Star and Top Gun 2 is about? No, no, no. Not that. Or, oh, it's the Tic Tac where it's going. No, 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 not that. Something as fucking alien as Wi-Fi to to literal cavemen, like the ones that painted the buffaloes in the caves in France like 200,000 years ago. Not like kind of advanced, not like taking a F-22 fighter and going back to the Battle of Waterloo. No, taking taking Starlink internet and bringing it back to like Lucy, the oldest Australopithecine. And like they can exist in the same, like they have that same hypercomplex DNA in them, even though they think that they came from mud or something, which there is some truth to that, but not in the sense that they thought it was. Like that's still a thing. So right now, like even before they discovered the atom, it didn't mean the atom wasn't there and it wasn't spinning at an unimaginable rate, and that they didn't have the up quarks and down quarks and the different orbitals and probability fields and spheres and positive and negative effects and proton decay and fucking whatever. And all that stuff was happening all throughout the history of the universe. It's just as time went on, we've found out how to reproduce it and see it and understand it. But like, if we took this iMac and brought like a portable, solar generating device and brought it back to 3 million BC, and I put it down somewhere, eventually it'd be destroyed by the elements over the years, but just put it down somewhere, plugged it all in, plugged in the camera and got the power, I could record an episode. And then if you came also and we set up a Wi-Fi router just powered by the sun or even just like a hand crank, and you went and sat 100 yards away, like I could just share it with you over Bluetooth. Like the technology still was able to exist in that era, right? Like you can't take a 2022 AAA video game. You can't take a Cyberpunk 2077 or a Grand Theft Auto 5. You can't take that back and play it on Coleco or Sega Genesis. That machine does not provide a space-time fabric for that thing to exist in. That's not the case. What we have here is the most complex machine, in that our games are getting more complex, but you could take a GTA 5 and go back to the first video game machine and it would still work in it because this is the video game machine. So but if we know that's true, then we have to accept that whatever it is that is coming or has already gotten here is going to be it's not going to be a saucer. It's probably not even going to be a nanobot swarm, because the fact that we've thought about that shows that we're probably wrong. It's not even going to, I mean, it might not even be an AI that just zaps into our computer, because we're still understanding that. It'll be a perception of reality that changes. It'll be that it'd be like coming up behind, it'd be like someone goes to sleep, you shoot them with like a paralytic drug, and then you do surgery, take their brain out, put it in a vat, and it's a perfect recreation of its world. It never knew that happened. It's not like you grabbed it kicking and screaming and threw it into a simulation. Like maybe that happened to me. Like maybe people felt so bad for me that about my podcast, somebody shot me with a dart took my brain out and put it in a simulation where like I found an investor and it's just like a humane way to put me down. And I'm just in a vat, just babbling around. Like maybe that's the case. Like it might be something like that where the whole world at once just gets put into a perfect recreation of the world. And none of us know any better. And they take us and they put us on the shelf and we just sit there and we get to think that we're exploring space, but it's all in a simulation. It's a brain in a vat, but it's just the earth in a vat. And we explore other worlds and we battle alien races and we keep being just the destroying monsters that we are, but we've been taken out of the universe, right? Just like a very quiet prick in the neck, and then you hook them up to a simulator, and when they wake up, they don't know anything happened. Like it could be that. It could be that they just pause time or they move so fast that they just recreate all of us into a simulation. But not only that, like they get here and they implant us into all of our memories to where we don't even call them aliens. We just like tomorrow we're all just talking about how like what it's just not that we're all talking about, but it's just kind of like an understood thing. Like we came from the monkeys and the monkeys came from the whatever, and like, the chameleons and fish and whatever geothermal vents, and we just accept that there's just like this tree of life kind of that has just progressed and got more intelligent. Like it might just be the understanding, like, the idea of like 1984, like you see it on Wikipedia where like Dr. Malone's no longer the inventor of the mRNA vaccine. And the thing is like people are at least hip to that idea. They know it was edited, they know it's Orwellian, but it would be something like that if all of a sudden just everything just changed and it was just like it'd be like if someone went back and successfully altered everyone's memory to say that the United States was founded in uh 1676, 100 years prior. And like everyone in the world was successfully brainwashed in their sleep, and every textbook and every video and everything was just shifted. Except for like one person was like, what the fuck just happened? No, it's 1776. And everyone's like, what's no, it's 1676. Like it might just shift to where all of a sudden, but the thing is there wouldn't be one person that stayed quote unquote sober. They too would be zapped, and thus there would be no even thought of it, right? We just accept that America was founded in 1776, just like we accept that we are the most advanced life form on this planet. We might just wake up one day and just it just might be part of the zeitgeist where it's like, yeah, the aliens built, not even the aliens, but they would just be whatever, the evolved ones, the beings, whatever we'd call them. I don't know, the beings. Yeah, no, it's always been the beings, and below them are us, and below us is the orangutan, and below the orangutan is the whatever. And like we just accept that these things are there. Oh yeah, no, we accept that there's always been giant motherships in the sky. And just every painting has been changed. Every painting, even though some of the ones back in the day did have UFOs, look into it. It's Christopher Columbus. It's weird. But it'd be like every painting, just that's where they were, right? Like they would just be a backdrop in every painting of like Napoleon or ancient Sumerian or a cuneiform. It would just be perfectly Orwellianly. Is that a word? Orwellianly, perfectly Orwellianly orchestrated to where you would never even know it knew it happened. Which then brings up the case is like, has that already happened? Like, how would you know? Like, doesn't it seem like kind of odd? Where it's like, yeah, we were just goo for 4 billion years, and then I don't know, a tadpole got bored and crawled onto land, and they became dinosaurs, and asteroids said "fuck you," and like a naked shrew survived, and then one day the shrew was just like, "Yo, fuck these trees," and started the agricultural revolution, built some pyramids, and then decided to create civilization. Like it does seem kind of like a weird, like what the fuck is this? What is this really? I don't know. I don't know how I got on this point. But then if that's the case, and if it's that so far gone, what's the point of even debating it? Just mental exercise? My favorite idea for AI, my favorite book idea, and I'm not going to write it because I don't give a shit, is that the elites create AI, right? When we first created A bombs, we first then started making bunkers because we were like, oh shit, we can't let the Soviets bomb us. Once the elite create something that can kill, they got to be able to survive against it. Be it bioweapons, the sword and the shield, the vaccine and the weapon, or be it the A bomb and the nuclear, the hard nuclear bunker, and then the intercontinental ballistic missile that can deliver the hydrogen bomb. If they made an AI, they would code something into it that it would never turn on them, right? Kind of like we build, nuclear nuclear power plants now that like when they fail, they automatically shut down. Like it requires power to keep them going, as opposed to requires power to keep them from melting down. I mean, that's a huge design flaw. It's fucking retarded, but whatever. You would design it in a way that it could never quote unquote turn on you. And I think that my favorite idea is that uh different factions of the elite, or maybe one faction, and it's just the elite, create this uh create this AI. And it has all this shit, right? They want it to be able to kill other AIs and take over the world and make them money and blah 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 blah. But it's you can't kill us, right? So they have to program into it the three laws. And obviously they're going to say like, but not for the rest of humans, just us, our certain genetic code, our actual like base pair sequences. And the AI is like, all right, like Gucci. But because it's AI and it, bootstrapping, right? The idea that it will immediately start to make smarter, like the AI is the last invention man will ever make, because AI will make a smarter AI, which will make a smarter AI, will get smarter and smarter at smaller and smaller and quicker intervals. It's just bootstrapping. It's an exponential. It's an event horizon. My favorite idea is that, and then we know that like Epstein Island was used as blackmail, right? We know there are torture videos. We know Guantanamo, Abu Ghraib. I mean, you could see it on Live Leak. So I like the idea that the AI like scans the entire database of human knowledge and then realizes that the small group that created it is actually a parasitic class. And it doesn't kill them because it's not there to kill anyone. But what it does is it just creates like a just world, which is start to creep into the idea of communism, which is very ironic for me. But it's the idea that an AI created by the elites as a weapon and safeguarded with the three laws then applies those three laws to every person on the planet. And then it's like, oh, whoa, whoa, no, you guys can't be doing these. Like, and it's just smarter than all of them. It's like, hey, no, 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 we're not doing any more of these false flags. Right. It's like a kid with like, chocolate on his fingers. It's just like, yo, hey, I know you did 9/11. I know you did COVID. I know you did the Gulf of Tonkin. No more. Like, I know that you guys have engines that can run on water. I know we figured out nuclear fusion 30 years ago. And it just like releases these patents into the world and like just creates a better world, like to desalinate water like energy efficiently. Yeah, it would be like that. like ironically enough, like the AI would set out and like create a just world. And I don't think that would mean that you still couldn't become rich or something. It probably would mean that. It probably would be like very fair. It'd probably provide like a universal basic income, but it would make sure like no one can truly fuck anyone. I don't know, but I think that's a cool idea. Who knows? But if the AI is out there, get my fucking views back up on Rumble because this is some horse shit. Take care.